What's up, Fred? Thanks for pushing that out, pushing this out there. I'm scheduling a big one and doing a little bit of promotion for Thursday. So hopefully I have a big one. I have Zoom webinar, so we can get 100 people in at a time. That's pretty good. So if we ever need to run a large meeting, you can schedule with my Zoom. Thanks, I appreciate it. I really don't know how many people to expect, but this is kind of a trial run for Thursday. I'm also testing going live on YouTube right now. So it should be recording here. I'll be able to post this on Facebook, and then it should be live on YouTube because I'm trying to build my YouTube channel, kind of live in one place. YouTube content lasts forever. So let's just see how it goes. I did Facebook Live before, but it just kept killing the stream. So I'm gonna attempt to do it right now. See what happens. All right, 6 o'clock. This should be fun, guys. I've got, see if you can see that. Oh, it's invisible. So I'm live on Facebook and on YouTube right now. For some reason, my Facebook Live kind of sucks. So thanks for attending, Fred. Thank you for everybody who's watching this not live. It should be posted around. So like I was saying earlier, I'm crazy pumped about these innovation challenges. I actually just built a whole course around this, and I have the resource guide that if you, I'll post it in the comments to make it as easy as possible. But we've found a little over 50 of these different sites where these appear. I would say collectively, there's probably 200 of these programs that are out there, which is absurd. I'm going to go over my favorite places, my favorite challenges on the places, why I think that they're the best picks, and then a little bit of strategy where I see things where people are winning and how you can kind of like double and triple dip on some of these challenges. We'll talk about what makes people win, kind of high level. I also put some of that information in the resource guide, but of course that's predominantly what I go over as a coach and trying to build the course around. So, okay, great. So the first thing, just high level, everybody asks me like, what is an innovation challenge? There's actually a website, innovationchallenge.com, but to make a long definition short, they are programs that are put on by large organizations. Generally, they're charities, government entities, large corporations, where they're seeking ideas that, particularly ideas that solve a problem, a large problem. So, and the biggest resistance that I get from this, beyond, I mean, I really don't know. Fred, you and I were talking about this. I don't know why people don't apply for these more, but the biggest resistance that I get is they say, "Oh, they're big companies. They have all the resources in the world. Why don't they do this thing? Why would they want me to do this? Or why do they want my idea?" And it's very difficult for large organizations to go after lots of opportunities at once, right? Companies get large because they're very process oriented, because they have created stable processes for growth and sustaining their business. They're not in the business of going after emerging technology, going after you know 100 rabbits at once. But these innovation challenges give them access to dozens or hundreds of teams of smart people, and they get to pick from these ideas and say, this one's worth pursuing more, right? I believe in this one, $10,000 or $100,000 worth. And that's where we see the potential. So you, like everyone else, you're somebody that's filled with ideas or have a skill set. We're trying to match people up to these challenges, and part of it is purely on my point is I see a lot of smart people get stuck because they don't know how to get customers and they don't know how to get the money together to build something they want to build. Generally, just build a business, and this kind of shortcuts that whole process. So the best website that I know of that lists these is herox.com, right? There's some sub pages like American Made Challenges that we'll go after, but herox.com has a huge list of these. That's kind of what that platform specifically does. I saw a very interesting one on how to prevent liquor store robberies. You get 250K Canadian, so that's like hundreds of dollars US. I mean, but for helping mitigate robberies in liquor stores. And there's just so many angles. There's like there's machine learning and video angles. There's psychological angles. There's ways of changing the store around, but they're just looking for ideas. 250K. I thought that was neat. It doesn't count as one of my top 3 things. I just think it's crazy. Maybe you have a background in video analytics and human behavior. There's a company locally that does that, predictive analytics. It's generally used for looking at how people interact, like say in a Target. If you've ever wondered why Target's laid out, or a big business is laid out the way that it is, it's because somebody is watching you and watching how people peruse through product, and then they come up with new strategies to barricade you from going here or making you go across the store, things like that. So anyways, maybe you could use that technology to prevent liquor store robberies. But more specifically, I see a lot of things on there. American Made Challenges kind of fits my niche of doing something good for the world, innovative, different, right? And they're high value opportunities and they're low competition. So I want you to look at those. You can just search American Made Challenges. You can look at the resource guide. I have a link directly to it, even though it's technically, for the moment, it's hosted on HeroX. I want you to go right to it because some of the best opportunities are there. I think the water resource challenge right now is probably one of the best ones out there. So I'm just going to look really quickly. Water resource recovery prize, 45 days remaining. So only 125 people have signed up to follow it. So to be able to actually solve it, to put a submission, you have to follow it as well. So you figure there's less than that many people have applied. It's the entrance stage. Prizes are up to $1 million. All Are you kidding me? $1 million? But when we go over the tips, I'll tell you why it's even better than $1 million. Okay, but this is ridiculous. Phase one, propose your engineering schematics and business case. So your idea in 90 days, 10 teams will win 50K. Phase two, validate plans and develop detailed analysis. Up to 2 teams will receive 250K. It's pretty good. But when I talk about one of the tips, you'll see why it's even better than that. So American Made Challenges, fantastic. There's a couple of other really fantastic ones. Joking, but not joking, the fish protection one, I'm going to apply to it because it's just too good to let go. 109 people are interested, 700K in prizes. So I'm guessing that they have about 8 to 10 submissions. How would I guess that? Is because I have run these types of challenges and I've coached a lot of people through similar things, pitch contests, incubators, accelerators, and these innovation challenges. So I know that for every interested person, they get about 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10 people actually apply. And then about that same number of people are totally insane. So if we look at that collectively, that's some great opportunities. You're competing against 3 people. There's more prizes than there are people that have applied. So the next one that I wanted to cover is another big one. And you'll actually see some of the HeroX challenges over here as well, because some of the HeroX challenges are run by the US government. So you'll see them at challenge.gov. Challenge.gov goes across the entire US government. So you're going to see all kinds of wild things. And Fred, there's an amazing one on here. I know I bugged you about this like 2 years ago, but there's a lot of first responder stuff, including a AR VR goggle challenge called Chariot. So the last 3 letters of Chariot are IoT. So super fun. But there's ludicrous ones on there as well. So the American Made Challenges you'll see replicated, but there's things on everything. There's stuff on supply chain, stuff on cyber, stuff on solar and green energy. God, it's crazy light going across here. But stuff on battery technology, stuff on drones. So I really like that as well. Let me try to switch this up. Okay. Yeah. So I like challenge.gov. One, it's because I'm familiar with the federal space. I'm familiar with working with government agencies and their prime contractors and stuff. And it's really not as scary as people sound. It's just, if you imagine a normal business would generate a piece of paper that's 3 pages long, they generate one that's 15 pages long. And same thing with requirements. Once you sift through it, the opportunities are definitely proportional to any type of obstacle that there would be to that. So I really like the Chariot challenge, but there's also other things that have to do with first responders, which is a big deal for me. The third site, and I just want to totally deviate, and this is on the resource guide, is by Philips. So you think of Philips, you think of consumer packaged goods, consumer products like shavers and kitchen appliances. Well, guess what? If you have an idea that you can save time, save money, they have a different flavor of this innovation challenge we call an open call for innovation, where they just say, if you have an idea in this space, in the bathroom, in the home, in the, in this and this, apply your idea. The reason that I like the open calls for innovation is because you get the funding, but you get the dream customer. You get the customer that's so good, they're going to either fund or just buy your idea forever. And I'm generally not a big fan of licensing. I think a lot of people, they make pennies instead of dollars on licensing, but it's just kind of like a lazy person's dream, like, oh, I won't have to do anything. But if you can just get that implementation, get that execution a little bit farther down the road, when you work with a big company like Philips, they have such a massive platform that if they were to license your product, you're licensing it for millions and millions of units, and the dividends on that are outrageous. It's worth it, right? So those are the three main ones that I see: HeroX, Challenge.gov, and Philips. There's a lot more listed. They kind of crop up and go down. There's a lot of COVID related challenges right now going across the different spaces. There's, if you're in Canada, which I I'm not that popular of a person. If you're in Canada, there's a great one on the list that's just for Canada, and the payouts are outrageous. They're phenomenal. They're like move to Canada, good money. But here's some tips for these. I kind of mentioned this. One is that I look at the interest level, particularly on HeroX, and see how many people have applied. I'll give it an example of one that I wouldn't apply for, right? Is there's a NASA like Mars robot type thing, right? There's a little, I don't know what they call it, like hell in space challenge. Well, there's 4.8K people that have marked they're interested. And I know that because it's not really a niche thing, it's a populist thing, they're going to get absurd, just going to get mountains and mountains of applications. And they're sure they'll be junk, but there's flavors of that same thing elsewhere that have no competition. So me personally, I try to be successfully lazy, right? So I'm going to go for something where I have the highest value return for my time. I wouldn't apply to that. I just wouldn't. But I look for the low interest and I look for the high money, and I say, okay, I know a lot of people. I'm pretty sure that we can put a solid thing together, and or I can have somebody put a solid thing in, write my name down. I'll be your manufacturer or your designer. But that's a tip. My second tip, and I think this is the most powerful one, is that what is Jade messaging me? Oh, virtual clothing. As I was saying last time about changes to our shopping experience based on this COVID situation. But my second big tip is pick something, if you can, pick an area that there's multiple challenges with. And good examples of that, like a great example is ways of reusing plastic. I think we're at a time where you're going to see recycling change significantly with different bacteria and chemicals being able to break plastic down extremely rapidly. Innovation changes the world. Saving your Starbucks straw is not going to do it. Inventing something that can change the world en masse, that's what's going to work, right? Smart people doing things. But zero waste supply chain is huge, right? So saying, hey, this packaging totally breaks down, or this packaging is totally reused, or there is no packaging somehow of this product, is huge. There was a great Louis Vuitton open innovation call that had to do with reducing the footprint of their supply chain. There's a ton of them on like reducing plastics, creating plastics more efficiently, breaking down plastics. There's lots of things, but for each of those, there's like 2 or 3 challenges. So if that was your space, you'd say, I really understand this, so I can apply this to multiple times. It's also an indicator that it's a very hot space, and you could probably down the line get into a high-level accelerator or just get straight investment. Like you would be able to go and get investment right away because people are so interested in it. Like an evergreen topic, I think that in 20 years, people will still be interested in, is, of course, cybersecurity. We have had a cybersecurity accelerator here in the DC area for a while. There's government-run ones. It's like if you had a product, you could literally shop it around and win some challenges and get into programs pretty easily. Of course, solar, helped a lot of teams win solar. Sorry for people on Facebook that I'm like jostling my phone around, but this is the only way right now that I can do 2 streams at once. So yeah, like if you picked solar or green energy of some flavor, you would be able to then go to another program. You'd be able to go to another accelerator. I've got a friend that runs a green energy accelerator, but there's also all the power connectors that are part of the American Made Network. So there's a bunch of accelerators like around the country. So you kind of see like a roadmap to starting up. Batteries, that's a big one. Recycling batteries, more efficient batteries, zero waste batteries of some kind. Drones, it's all Fred, but there's always drone related things. Fred, there's another drone related innovation challenge that's on challenge.gov right now too. It's either there's a first responder one, and then there's like a medical supply. You know, it's the same classic thing. They want a cheap, lightweight drone that can deliver a small payload. So it's just like if you come up with that, you can just keep winning these things over and over again. But I think the biggest one right now that I see is water related, like cleaning water. Cleaning water is huge, but like using water more efficiently. So like if you picked something in that area, then you would be able to consistently win other challenges as well. But those are my tips. Pick something that you can keep winning at, something that you can see a pathway to running a business with. If you just have an idea and you don't have a expertise area, still shop around these challenges, because they're not all massive social good problems. Some of them are just simple consumer product open calls for innovation, which I think are interesting. But generally, the products that I get into are more of the on the innovation side, because the consumer product side of things, it's more of like a Kickstarter thing, right? You can prototype it and launch it on Kickstarter. It's really hard to launch like a massive solar company on Kickstarter. I mean, people have tried, but it doesn't really connect you with the customer and the resources that you need. So that's it for me right now. If anybody has any questions, comment down below. I am trying to run a large version of this on Thursday and go over some of our information more directly. See, I've got 5 people on Facebook. That's good. Yeah, so Thursday, I'm doing a 45-minute version of this. We're going to go over some very specific challenges, and I'm going to go over some of the content on how do you apply, what makes a winning pitch, what makes a winning video, and yeah, a few more tips. So appreciate you for watching. If you have questions, please download that resource guide. Full disclosure, it does put you into a email sequence, so you'll get email sequences for my course that's coming out, but never mind that. If you want to have coaching to actually win these things, by all means sign up for the course. Otherwise, just read the emails and be like, Callie, that's ridiculous. But thanks for the information, because I'm going to send you information for a couple days, and then it's going to lead up to a webinar, which we're doing on Thursday. So appreciate you. Thank you. Talk to you guys later.